Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode, another day, another week. This week, I don't know if you can guess, but we're going to be talking about something that happened last week. Talking about the attempted assassination. I'll throw up air quotes because as of right now, anything's up in the air. But I have my opinion.
Well, it was attempted.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean in the broader aspect. So, that's going to be this whole episode. Just talking about Trump. Doesn't mean we're supporting him or anything. It's just calm down, all right? It's just talking about what happened. So
this is a discussion.
Yeah, it's a discussion betwixt us and you.
Betwixt?
Yeah. So the Trump assassination attempt. Everybody at this point basically knows that. I mean, unless you're living under a rock, that somebody tried to assassinate Donald Trump. People call him President Trump all the time. Does that still apply?
Yeah, because people still call Obama. I think when you have been the president, people always call
Obama?
you president.
All right. Well, somebody tried to assassinate Donald Trump, and this was on July 13th, Pennsylvania. He was shot at by a would-be assassin. Okay. Now the bullet grazed his ear, and this is a quote from his son, Eric Trump. He said, "A nice flesh wound." He said he didn't need stitches. It was just a nice flesh wound. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's what it is. So far, these are the only things that are facts right now. What?
I do know he had to have what you call the thing when you cover up a wound.
A bandage?
A big one. Had a big bandage on his ear.
Yeah, he had it on there, but that doesn't mean he needed it.
And then a bunch of followers of his had bandages on their ear.
Are you serious?
Like he was a
trendsetter?
A rapper. You know how Nelly...
Did they really?
Nelly wore a Band-Aid on his face and everybody else was wearing one. Yeah, people come to the convention with one of them on their ear.
All right, well, as of right now, these are the facts. These are the things that we know for a fact. The shooter was a 20-year-old dude named Thomas Matthew Crooks. Trump was shot in the right ear. Okay, 2 people were critically injured. 1 man died, and the gunman was killed as well. Those are the bare-bone facts that we know.
His last name was Crooks.
Crooks.
How fitting.
All right, now hold on. Now, don't lump this man's family in with him. I did think of that though. But
I'm just saying.
So, the man that was killed in the crossfire was a Trump supporter. I mean, he was there, so that's kind of obvious. But he was a firefighter, and his name was Corey. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Compatore. It's either Compatore or Compatore. He was 50 years old. He was a firefighter. He got hit. He basically dove onto his family. He got hit in the head, and unfortunately, he died. He was a father of 2 girls and the husband of his wife. And this is the thing that, I had to search this, because nobody talked about it. The 2 people who got critically injured. Do you even know who nobody apparently is talking super hard about these 2, but it was a 57-year-old man named David Dutch and a 74-year-old man named James Copenhaver. They were rushed to the hospital, and then they were said to be in stable condition, though they sustained, quote, life-altering injuries. I believe they said David Dutch had trauma to his liver and his ribs. I don't know how many times they got shot, but they're alive, and they're fine now. But they did suffer pretty bad injuries. The shooter, like I mentioned, Thomas Crooks, 20 years old. He took a 5.56 caliber AR style rifle, which his dad legally bought. His dad legally bought that gun a long time ago, and drove to the site of the rally, positioned himself on top of the roof, that was to the left of the stage. If you're looking at the stage head on, it was all the way to the left. And the rally attendees spotted Crooks outside the security perimeter. Apparently he was outside the security perimeter, although that doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're looking at the stage, he's to the left, outside the security perimeter, air quotes. And many of the attendees at this point started to point at him and call the local police officers to, come over and check this guy out. He's very suspicious. He's on top of the roof.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Yeah, look. There he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went right on the roof again.
Up here.
There's one video where a man says he has a gun, but immediately starts running. So I guess everybody saw the gun at the last minute, and then literally moments later, shots started ringing out. Bullet grazed Trump's ear. One man was killed. 2 men were critically injured. A U.S. Secret Service member who was positioned behind Trump on top of a building, according to reports and the law enforcement, he's the one that shot him. Now, earlier, you were saying that if you look at the video, like you're looking at the stage, over Trump's right shoulder, there are 2 Secret Service members, 1 sniper and 1 person behind him keeping watch.
You want me to repeat what I told you?
Yeah, go ahead, because I had some insight on that.
True.
Go ahead.
What is truth?
Yeah.
But well, from what I heard, like the FBI shooter,
Secret Service
that was behind Trump,
mm-hmm.
that you could see in the video, his gun was already focused in that area already. And I think you could see the video, he's already looking through his scope in that same direction. So from what I understand, as he took his head out of the scope up, that's when the shots were fired. And as he went right back into that scope, he pulled the trigger and shot the suspect. That's what I've heard. You hear a lot of stuff, but that's what I heard.
Yeah, so at first, I was wondering what took that guy so long to shoot. Well, here's what I've heard. Now, like I said, it's only been 7 days, right? I mean, the FBI is still investigating this. But what I've seen on diagrams and what I've heard is the way that the shooter was positioned. The sniper was looking in that direction, but if you look on the video, there's a huge tree right in front of that building that the shooter was in. They think that the reason that sniper didn't see him is because Matthew Crooks, the shooter, was directly behind that tree out of his line of sight. And I don't even think he's the one that killed him. I think it was the snipers on the other roof on the left side of Trump that actually shot and killed him. Because what they said is when the radio call went out that there was a suspect, the sniper team over the left side of Trump, they actually had to turn from the left and reposition to the right. And they're the ones that shot him. So if the sniper team over Trump's right-hand shoulder didn't see him because of the tree, that would explain why it took so long for them to react. But that's just.
But like I said,
what I heard.
Some people said you heard that, but I heard that. So I'm wondering how could you take eye out of the scope. As soon as you put your eye back in the scope, you shoot the suspect just like that.
Well, from the stage
Was it just
to the
luck that you
rooftop.
already focusing on that
Well,
already?
like I said, I don't think he's the one that shot him. Just based off of what they said, he might have. But like I said, there's a lot of speculation right now. But if the tree was in the way and he didn't see him, the buildings that the shooter was on and the stage that Trump was on, they're about 400 to 500 feet apart, which should have been covered. And I'm going to go over the inconsistencies, though, and this is a part of it. But he was about 400 to 500 feet from where the shooter was to Trump's stage. So maybe when that guy was looking through the scope, he couldn't see him because of the tree. And when they radioed in that there was a shooter, he might have took his head out to see if he... Because when you're looking through a scope, you only have a small area of visibility. When you take your head out, you can see wide open. 400 to 500 feet, I can see somebody out there, especially if they're on top of the roof. So maybe that's why. I don't know, though. Then again, I don't even know who shot. But here's the inconsistencies.
So my thing is, how was he within 100 yards?
Not 100 yards.
It was about 100 something yards, wasn't it?
Well, it was 400 to 500 feet.
I'm talking about from the shooter to Trump.
Yeah, 400 to 500 feet.
Was it?
Yeah. Like, it wasn't that far. And that's what doesn't make sense.
Well, see, that's my point. How does somebody get that close
Well,
to the situation?
this is where that leads into. So the Secret Service claims that perimeter was checked and cleared. This is the Secret Service. That's what they said. Pennsylvania State Police notified the U.S. Secret Service 20 minutes prior to the gunman firing that a suspicious person was spotted with a rangefinder. Now, a rangefinder is a device that's used to measure the distance from one point to whatever your selected point is. So it wasn't a gun or anything. That's just what it was. It's a tool used to measure distance. And then that was 20 minutes. This is what the local police said. And that he was on the grounds at about 5:51 p.m. Then you jump over to cell phone video and eyewitnesses accounts from the rally members. They were trying to notify police that a person was on the roof up to a full 2 minutes before the shots began. Now, there was one police officer who climbed up on the roof, and apparently Thomas Crooks, the shooter, pointed his rifle at him, and the man went back down. He retreated and then called him in, and then not too long after, you heard shots ring out. The local police claims that they told the Secret Service that they couldn't place a patrol car outside of that building where the shooter was positioned, but they used that building as a police personnel and tactical team headquarters. So there were three snipers from a local tactical team in that building where the shooter was. And one of those snipers initially spotted the shooter, Thomas Crooks, when he had the rangefinder, and then called it in. Why didn't the Secret Service or the local police apprehend or eliminate the shooter before he shot? I don't know. That's still a question that hasn't been answered. And how was the shooter able to fire 8 times before he was killed? Now, if you listen to the video, you hear 3 initial shots, and then a small gap, and then you hear 5 other shots. That's a lot. I mean, he got 3 shots off within a second.
So,
hey man, you can't be.
So a lot of people, you know, what you've been hearing is he missed Trump because Trump's head was turned this way already, right? And that's why it missed him, right? That's what you heard. My thoughts on that is, as the police officer climbs up to the roof of that building and he sees the suspect turns his rifle towards him, and then I heard he came down or stumbled down, and then he calls it in, right?
Mm-hmm. The police officer?
As he falls down and calls it in, right after that, the suspect fires a shot towards Trump. I believe that because of that, that shooter rushed his shots, which caused him to miss Trump. Because if you sitting on the roof and you got time, and he's in your scope, and you got time, and to take your time, it wouldn't matter if your head was turned left, right, down, or up. A sniper's gonna shoot you and not miss you, more than likely.
Well, it depends.
I think he missed Trump because he rushed his shots. I hadn't heard nobody say nothing about that, speak about that, but I think it's because at that moment he went back to shoot towards Trump and he rushed his shots, and that's why he missed Trump.
Now, that could very well be the case. Either this goes along with that, or this is a different reason. I mean, that could be true, but
I don't say that's the truth. I don't say that's what happened. I'm just saying. Just thought about that.
When to play off of what you were saying, when the bullet went past Trump, he just turned his head. Now, he was already looking in this direction, but when the bullet struck him, he had just turned his head just a little bit. And I'll show a diagram right here. Basically, that split second of him turning his head is why it grazed his ear. Now check this. If the trajectory was just like this, right? Look at me. If it was just right here, if the bullet goes on the same path and his head is just turned here, it's hitting him right here and blowing the back of his head up.
Take a look what happened.
So, if he didn't turn at that last second, it would have hit him, like you saw on that diagram right there.
So check this out. If he did rush his shots, he would have had rushed his shots and still nicked Trump. Mm-hmm. If he didn't rush his shots, what could have happened?
Well, that's if he rushed. I also know that you mentioned that they found out that he was in some gun clubs. And I also heard that one of his school programs had a gun club, and they didn't allow him to join because they said he was, quote, a bad shot. So, not only that, but from what I read, he had iron sights, which are basically just the two little metal prongs that stick up on the gun and you use. He didn't have a scope or anything. From 400 to 500 feet, I mean, for him to nick Trump, that's pretty good aim. But then again, like, it all circumstance. If he would have angled just a couple inches over, or if Trump wouldn't have turned his head, he probably would be dead. So, I don't know. There's just a lot of things at play. There's a lot of things that worked out just right for Trump not to be dead.
Well, I know a lot of people probably say, I'm wrong and you wrong. And you know...
It's all fake.
What they gonna... Well, that's a possibility. People could say it was staged.
Because I'm bet that is a good segue. Because I'm about to go into the conspiracies.
But the other part is God spared Trump's life. So you could have the ones that say it was fake, or the ones that saying y'all wrong because only God was the one that saved his life.
Well, I think there's three.
And that's another.
I think there's three options on the table. Either somebody set it up, or it was staged. It was a genuine attempt and they just missed, or it was divinely avoided. Now, that's a beautiful segue because we're getting into conspiracies. I'm not even kidding you. Not even moments after Trump was shot at, and I mean literally minutes after he was shot at, people already began conspiracy theories. And I'll name a few, and I'm going to give you brief comments on them, all right? This is the list of conspiracies, and then I'll break them down. Joe Biden's Antifa group shot Donald Trump. Okay. There's nothing as of right now to suggest that Joe Biden even has an Antifa group or had anything to do with this. These are baseless claims. Unless evidence is brought forward, you probably shouldn't believe it. The CIA, or the Central Intelligence Agency, was behind the hit. Again, no evidence, just an assumption. Donald Trump staged the whole event to gain political favor and sympathy from the voters. Again, no evidence, nothing. Let's not forget, he was hit, and 2 people got critically injured, and someone died. So now let's break this down. Okay, Joe Biden's involvement. According to the New York Times, on July 12th and July 13th, the phrase inside job was mentioned 83,000 times on X, which is formerly Twitter. 83,000 times people mentioned inside job on X. That's 3,228% increase than just compared to 48 hours before that. So obviously you have a lot of people thinking that it was an inside job. Now, this suggestion that the opinion that Biden and or other political figureheads had a hand in the assassination attempt is a very popular opinion. Literally, if you go and you ask people on the street, that's probably going to be one of very few choices that they pick. It also doesn't help that a few days before the shooting, Biden was inside of a private phone call with the National Finance Committee, where he made a comment basically saying we need to put Trump in the bullseye. All right, that was a few days before the incident. Now, this is what he said. I have one job. This is what he said in the phone call, right? This is his quote. I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm obviously certain that I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye, end quote. Biden later said that comment was meant to, highlight that Democrats need to put Trump at the center of their attention and put their focus on him to beat him. He admits, that the language was probably a mistake to use that. He said that a better phrase was, something along the lines that we need to put Trump in the spotlight, something like that. So, bullseye is probably not a good choice of words, and he admitted that. Now, the government planned it. That's another one. Realistically, if the CIA or the FBI really wanted Donald Trump dead, he probably would be dead. I'm just going to be very honest. And they wouldn't have made it look like an assassination took place. They probably would have did it more covertly, more smartly. I mean, think about it. This is the FBI and the CIA. They've been around for a long time. They know how to do their jobs. They probably would have figured out a way to
I want to go back to what you said earlier.
Which part?
This is conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Out here, not what we think happened. This is conspiracy theories.
This is
what
just
we heard.
What people are literally talking about. I mean, not even like minutes after he was shot either, but all the way through days and days after. So again, like if the CIA wanted him dead, he probably would be dead. But to play the devil's advocate here, just a little bit, let's just say for the sake of argument that it could have been the CIA, the FBI, another secret agency, whatever, that set this whole thing up. Why do you think they did an awful job executing this? Having an untrained kid with a common rifle 400 to 500 feet away on a roof in broad daylight where everybody can see them with a bunch of eyewitnesses and didn't even kill the target but critically injured other people and killed somebody. The CIA, the FBI, that this was their plan. Yeah. This was their master plan.
Yeah,
just doesn't make any sense.
I thought about that as well earlier. I'm like, how does just a regular, normal individual get that close to the vice president, where he
The
almost,
vice president.
I mean, the
Ex-president?
vice president, the ex-president, the former president,
Yeah.
to be able to even attempt that. How is that? Just a normal, regular fella.
And I'm going to go into what I think later.
No paid assassin or nothing like that. Just a regular person roaming around in the background. You can see him in video roaming around in the background. Had a gun. They searched the place. How is this person able to even get by all this?
And later on, I'm going to explain what I think.
That makes it all seem kind of shady when you look at it that way.
Yeah, and like, not to mention, the dude did an awful job. But the only thing that the only thing that theory has going for it, that the government planned it, was basically what he just said. Is all these eyewitnesses and even a police officer and the Secret Service knowing about this guy 20 minutes before with a rangefinder, and then not investigating in enough time to catch him, and he winds up getting shots off. That's the only thing that theory has going for it. But everything else makes no sense. All right, and now the biggest conspiracy, I think, that the amount of people that I've seen people go out and interview people on the streets and videos. This one is the main one, that Trump staged the whole thing. It's all staged. That's the biggest theory out of all of them.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
It's a false flag.
False flag.
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
Was it staged? Probably.
Staged?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Trump maybe staged a fake assassination for support? Okay.
Now, the theory that Trump planned his own assassination, that doesn't hold much water either, to me. Because, firstly, not only him, but many other people would have had to know about this plan. That makes it really difficult for information to be held, just realistically, right? He had to know. At least some of the Secret Service members had to know. The shooter had to know.
So you're talking about this if Trump staged it.
Yeah, like, people had to know. Multiple people had to know. And if you don't think the Secret Service would have had known, well,
So
why do you think it took them so long? They would have had to know. I'm not saying that's what happened, but many people would have to know what happened.
So what about the
Brother.
So what about the other people getting shot and the other fella getting killed?
Exactly.
How would that?
So
how would they would have had to know and say, yeah, I volunteered, shoot me.
Well, they wouldn't have had to know. They were just collateral damage. But
Well,
even further.
then if that was the case, that would make Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad.
So even furthermore, who plans to have themselves shot? Not only shot at, but shot close enough that the bullet hit his ear, and like within a few centimeters or inches, it could have killed him. Who plans that? And also, if you take into account the people who were injured and the people who were killed, Trump would have had. They were just collateral damage. If he planned this, they were just collateral damage, just to further his wishes. Is it impossible? Like, is it impossible for somebody to do that? No. Is it very, very, very unlikely? Yes. Also, not to mention, if Trump planned this, there would have to be some evidence that Thomas Crooks, the shooter, would have had to have been in contact with Trump or his team at some point. Right? He would have had to have been in contact. He would have had to have volunteered to shoot Trump.
So then what they say. And by the way, one of our guys is gonna shoot and kill you.
I mean, unless they told him, now you just shoot at him, and then we'll just arrest you. And he agreed to it, and then they just killed him, so that way it tying up loose ends.
So
but like, still,
in other words, they probably shot him because he missed.
or they shot him because he was a loose end.
Then he would have told them.
But I don't know.
That ain't my conspiracy. I was
You just
going along with you.
It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, the worst thing that this theory has for it is if Trump would have been looking just a little bit to his left, he'd probably be dead. Now, unless it comes out that Trump actually never got shot, that he actually doesn't have a hole in his ear, or there's no scar, there's no tissue, unless they can prove that, and he actually did get shot, I doubt that he planned it, because a sane person wouldn't plan their own assassination, a fake assassination, only to get shot.
So
but if you're as crazy as if he's as crazy as people claim he is,
so if you tell that fella this nick my ear, you gonna trust somebody?
Especially a 20-year-old kid.
Nick your ear?
A 20-year-old kid, unless they had a professional sniper somewhere else, and Thomas Crooks was just a decoy, and then they killed him to tie up loose ends. But like, all this sounds so convoluted.
You just made that up because I ain't heard nobody say nothing about that.
Yeah. Well, I thought, like, unless they had a professional sniper off somewhere, and he shot Trump exactly how he needed to shoot him. But like, come on, dude. Let's just be realistic. Now, here's my thoughts. Here's what I think happened. This is my personal opinion. Until further information comes out, I believe that a mentally unstable 20-year-old stole his father's gun, went and bought ammunition, drove to the Trump rally because he saw his opportunity, saw that the Secret Service had neglected to do their job, things were not as secure as they should have been, climbed up on the roof and opened fire into a sea of people. I believe that the Secret Service members and the state police failed to do their job. A building that's 400 to 500 feet from a stage with not only the ex-president, but a potential nominee for presidency was not covered and cleared, and they didn't have better protocols in place for this. They failed. They did not do their job very good. They totally screwed this situation up. I think Trump was extremely fortunate not to be dead. I mean, considering that he did get hit. And I think that an actual real-life hero died while protecting his family, and 2 people were critically injured. That's what I think happened. Face value. I think a mentally unstable person shot into a sea of people trying to assassinate the president. And he failed in killing the president, but killed an innocent civilian and 2 other people.
That is logic, but you still have to think, how did they fail?
Negligence.
How did they fail with letting this happen?
So
he wouldn't really know if it was so secure or not.
Yeah, that's not his job.
He's not. I'm talking about the shooter.
Oh, well, yeah.
So he's not a paid assassin. He don't have no military background or anything like that. So
that leads to
maybe it was all luck on his part.
Well,
that he was able to get to that part.
I think that
they failed.
I think it's both. I think it lends credence to the fact that he was mentally unstable, and he figured that somehow this was going to solve some problem, and all the circumstances just allowed him to do this. Because I'm sure that there are instances in previous history where people have tried to assassinate the president but were stopped, and we never hear about it because the Secret Service or the police, they did their job correctly. The only reason this happened is because the Secret Service and the local police at that rally failed awfully. Almost to the point to where it costed someone who was potentially the next president of the United States almost to die.
If you think about it, it cost a loving father
his life
to die.
It cost 2 men's lives to be changed forever. That just seems to me to be the most logical thing that happened. Just a crazy guy decided to take matters into his own hands. Why? We don't know that yet. We have no idea. But I think he was unstable enough to actually do it. So, it doesn't help either that the political climate that we live in today is just outrageous. And like, don't get me wrong, politics has always been a rough area. It doesn't matter how far you go back. People have always not seen eye to eye, and there's been tension and conflict between whatever political party you're in. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just seems like in my lifetime, he said this earlier, and I said politics have always been a rough business. But admittedly, in my lifetime, the 25 years I've been alive, it seems like politics and conflict between politicians and the people of different parties has just took a drastic turn in the territory of ridiculous, shameful, conspiratorial, and hate-filled, just a hate-filled mess, you know? I can't speak for other countries. Like, I don't know how other countries are, but just based off my life in the United States and what I've learned in school and what I've seen on TV, we're just so divided. It's almost cutthroat. And like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's always been like this, but this is just how I see it. And the thing that lends a little credence to that is the people's reactions to this. Now, one side of this is better than the other, but they're both wrong. The people's reaction, a lot of people's reaction to this is horrible. And what I mean is, it doesn't really matter what side you're coming from. The assassination of anybody in the United States, pretty bad, right? It's pretty wrong. I mean, we have a court system to deal with criminals or people, you know. Not to say that Trump is a criminal or anything. I'm not speaking on that. I'm just saying, you don't take matters into your own hands and try to kill people. But that has not stopped people from showing their... I wonder if you're going to be able to hear all this in the background. It's thunder right now.
It's part of the show.
That has not stopped people from showing their true colors. I mean, this awful situation, people have stated that I wish the bullet would have hit him, or it's too bad he didn't get killed. Some people, I've heard this in person. I've literally heard somebody in person tell me, quote, why did they have to miss him for? End quote. I've literally heard that in person. Somebody said that to me. And the amount of people that you see online is crazy. And like, not to mention someone died, 2 people died, the shooter. And like, even though he did a bad thing, that's still a human being. He made a really awful choice. He died. A man trying to protect his family died. 2 people were critically injured. I'm going to show some clips of people's reactions, and it is just horrible. Like, have you seen any clips of people?
Oh, yeah.
And there's one dude in particular, his name is Destiny. He's a YouTuber. This man, I'll play that first. This man literally said, he said the F word. He said, F the man who got killed. F Trump. F anybody who showed up. If you go to one of his rallies and you're my fan and you're a conservative and you get killed, I'm making fun of you. I'll play that right now.
Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy, Trump, the people that support him. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter.
And all the other people, I'll play clips.
So you're disappointed that the shooter missed Donald Trump?
100%. 100%. No, well, nothing. But you know what? Since he missed, I can guarantee you there's going to be 100 people that are going to try to not miss.
Would you support that?
Yeah, 100%. He doesn't need to live. He doesn't need to be a president.
You guys are out here on the heels of the attempted Trump assassination. Can I get your reaction to what happened the other day?
Well, it's a shame the person missed.
Make a wish, Canada. Don't miss Trump next time.
Finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away!
So did you make the poster?
I did make the poster.
And you printed it?
I had a store printed for me, and I got it laminated. It cost me $40.
Are you just making the statement to the convention goers?
No, I mean, this isn't a joke or anything like that. I truly do believe that he is, in some sense, an American hero.
A person running Bravos attempting to
I'm not saying that's what made him an American hero, though.
Well, what else
that's what made him wrong.
Isn't that the act that made him
what made him an American hero was he stood up to a dictatorship.
It is just crazy to me that a human being, regardless of what your political views are, almost was killed. And one was. And people are wishing that he would have got killed. They're literally devastated. They're sad that he did not be executed. And the other side of that coin, this isn't as bad because these people are just very misguided. But this side isn't as bad as the people who actually wish a human being was slaughtered, murdered. But the flip side of that coin is the people who are praising Trump.
Trump is truly blessed by the hand of God being able to evade being assassinated. There's no one in America who has the strength, physical, mental, and emotional, to be able to stand up to that, to be able to respond to that, to be able to deal with all of that. He is the mightiest warrior that we have.
So all my friends back in Detroit who are Democrats, I want to ask you just one simple question. You can't deny the power of God on this man's life. You can't deny that God protected him. You cannot deny that it was a millimeter miracle that was able to save this man's life. Could it be that Jesus Christ preserved him for such a time as this? Could it be the Lord God strong and mighty, the God who is mighty in battle, protected Donald Trump because he wants to use him for such a time as this? If you believe that, come on, put your hands together and give our great God great glory.
You with Trump, you with me.
I mean, lifting him up, and they say he's so tough and he's a fighter, and this man stands for what Americans really feel. These comments aren't helpful either. Firstly, it's so early. You don't even know what happened. Maybe he did stage it. You don't even know. People are already backing him up. Like, on the face surface, is it a bad situation? Yes. But, like, it's so early. We can have sympathy for what happened and not, like, raise Trump up on this golden platform. You know? We can have sympathy. Second, you're boosting up a man to legendary status for getting grazed by a bullet when a real hero actually died. Like a fighter fire. Somebody who rushes into burning buildings and saves people and puts out fires that could damage and harm civilians. He actually died protecting his family. That's not to say that what happened to Trump is any less important. But people are taking this to a whole nother level. Trump is a man and his life matters just as much as anybody else. I'm happy he didn't get killed because there doesn't need to be unnecessary loss of life. But all this hype and all this people saying that the hand of God itself turned Trump's head or stopped the bullet. Well, what about the man who got shot in the crowd? Like, I'm not going to be quick. I'm not going to just throw the label that God performed a miracle on everything. Because sometimes the world just works the way it does. Can God do that? Yes. And if he did, we probably wouldn't know. Because we're just simple creatures. We're just basic people. We don't always know when God performs miracles or not. Sometimes life just happens. So I'm not going to be quick to throw God on everything. Because that's not helpful. And did Trump show some sort of courage and bravery? Yes. But people gotta stop praising this man like he's the Messiah. Trump is not the Messiah. In 4 years, there's going to be another president. He can only serve twice, a total of 8 years. In 4 years, if he is the president, there'll be another one. He's not going to single-handedly save this country. That's a collective people thing. So we got to chill. Right? We got to calm down. Seriously, I just think that it's kind of ridiculous. Absolutely.
Add to that. Well, you talking about the people that saying he should have not missed or stuff like that. I mean, that goes to show you the type of hearts that people have. Because you shouldn't. It wouldn't have mattered if that was Biden. You wouldn't want that to happen to the individual. I would.
Yeah.
I mean that. And then innocent people also get killed, and you're gonna say the stuff you say, and a man gonna get killed. And so you hate Republicans. That's why you say this. Conservative, but not all Republicans, conservatives think the same.
Right.
This man might not. This man that lost his life could have been one of the greatest persons you could ever meet. He could go out his way to do something for you, and you're gonna say stuff like this about this man, right? And also, not only people saying that, people making jokes about it. To me, assassinating his attempt on the president ain't no joke. And innocent people out here getting shot ain't no joke. A man losing his life, that's not funny. No. You see so-called Christians posting memes on Facebook about how this is with jokes. I don't get it. It's not no joke to me. That's just my opinion. I know I'm not a well-serious person. I laugh and joke all the time. But some things are serious to me.
Yeah,
I take that as serious situation.
Somebody jumping on their family and getting shot in the head in front of their family trying to protect them, that's not really funny. It's tragic. It's really sad.
And back to what you said about, I believe in God. And, I go to God in prayer. I seek God. I ask Him. I pray to Him. I ask Him to protect me and all my life and others. And I believe in that, and I believe God can protect you. But sometimes people are fanatics. They get to the point of seeming cultish.
Yeah.
And they fanatic, and they say the hand of God was on President Trump. Well, the hand of God that protected Trump, why did the hand of God protect this 50-year-old man that loved his family? People don't stop to think about this stuff.
And
now, like he said, God can protect people.
Yeah.
But to me, people worship a man to the point, and when this happened, they would say, "Oh, well, he's anointed by God, and he's the one, and God sent him here." Okay, he was the president for 4 years, and people say Trump was anointed by God to sit in the office, and then after 4 years happened? Biden came along. Right? So you mean to tell me God placed Trump in the office for 4 years to get things right, just only to put Biden back in to mess it back up, and only to put Trump back in and make it back better? Basically what people say. So after Trump becomes president, like you said, who's going to be, if Trump becomes president, you said it's ordained by God. So for 4 years, who's going to be the president after Trump? Is this person going to be ordained by God? Is it going to jump back to the other point? Right?
Yeah. And look.
And like, got things going good, things ain't going good. You got things going good, so God is He's doing good, making it not good, making it good, making it not good. Right?
And look, could God have been in the mix and spared Trump's life while not sparing the firefighter's life? Yes, that is possible, because there's something called the butterfly effect or the ripple effect. We don't know what circumstance is going to affect what down the road. So maybe there's an ultimate plan, but I think that this is just something that happened that God didn't plan, that in this realm of existence that we live in, it's just something that took. It's a series of events that took place, and one man lost his life and another man didn't. I just think it's that simple.
So, by saying all this, I'm not telling you I'm against Trump and I'm a vote for Biden. That's not. We just having a conversation of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I don't.
There's a gnat in here.
Hate Trump, like Trump. I'm a vote for Trump. I'm a vote for Biden. I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just speaking on what I feel is logic.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even talking about whether or not I like Trump or I like Biden. This is just talking about this circumstance and how this shows, you know, what the world really looks like nowadays.
But to me, it's like, I'm not saying to be excited about Trump being president. I'm not saying Trump ain't a good president. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying people put Trump on the status of Messiah status. And he's not. He's only a human being. And like I said, if he is a man of God and he does man of God things, it ain't really him anyway. It's God. Right?
Yep.
But some people are fanatic. Some people are, they seem a little cultish when it comes to Trump. You know what I'm saying? See, I ain't never in my life been a real political person. I always view stuff in God's view.
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm always like that. Some people may think it's not right and wrong. That's just how I've always been. Anything you want to add on to the people that are like this in churches when it comes to Trump, like you know how they are.
I think some people. I think some people in the church just. We need to stop focusing on human beings so much. I mean, it's literally like you just said. If God is anointing Trump, it's not Trump, it's God. Like, don't put those two people on the same level. You know, if you don't believe in God, then whatever. Like, what we're saying doesn't even matter to you. But for the people who do believe in God, like, Trump is not the Messiah. If Trump is anointed by God, it's not Trump's work. It's God's work. Don't confuse the two things. That goes for anybody. That goes from the attendees of the church, the staff, all the way to the pastor.
And it's like this here. If you're a child of God and you're born again and child of God, whether Trump's president or not. It don't matter if the Democrats president for 8 more years. Mm-hmm. If you're a man of God, you'll stay a man of God. That's why you're a man of God because of God, not because of no man. Mm-hmm. Right? So regardless what happened, God should always be front and center.
And who's to say if Democrats are president for 8 more years that's awful for the country? That might be the best thing.
You go to some churches, they preach on Trump more than they preach on Jesus. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I know some people might not like what I say, but hey, it's the truth to me.
You don't gotta watch.
It's the truth.
You can stop it right here if you want.
So I've heard one preacher say the Democrats is holding God back from doing his job.
Because they got that much
power. Now that's crazy.
Because apparently humans got that much power.
Ain't nobody can hold God back from nothing.
No.
What God has said is going to be, no matter what man does on this earth.
This preacher must have never read the Old Testament. Because ain't a single one of them places held God back.
First of all, what is spoken in God's word is going to happen regardless of what we do. Well, I got some Bible verses I wanted to go over that'll go along with this, that I feel will go along with it. In the first Bible verse, 1 Peter 5:8, it says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." And this Bible verse came to me because basically it says to know what's going on around you. Mm-hmm. To be aware of what's going on around you. And don't be drunk on the world. Basically what I get from that. Like what's going on today. Know what's going on. Know your surroundings. Right? So the next Bible verse is Ephesians 6:11-13. This one says, "Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand in the evil day, and having done all to stand." That means always be prepared in God, or what's going on around you in this world. Always be prepared.
Spiritual warfare goes on whether you see it or not. And there's a lot of it going on today. I don't care what you say.
Okay, the next one is Isaiah 46:10. "Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purposes." God has always been, He's always will be, and what He says it's going to happen regardless of what man does.
That's already been proven time and time
what
again.
What God's word says will be.
It is that is the period on the end of a sentence.
Proverbs 19:21. "Many are the plans of a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails." It's not about what I think. It's not about what I want, but it's about what God says and basically about God and not what I think. It's what He knows.
Some good life advice is when you figure that out, what he just said, your life will be better because you know that not all things are in your control, and there's always a plan, and God always sees you whether you're going through awful situations. You have no clue what's going on behind the scenes. All right.
The next is John 3:16-17. I know everybody
favorite
knows this one.
Well, they know 16. Many people don't memorize 17, but I like 17.
"For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, whosoever believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not His Son to condemn the world, but that the world through Him might be saved." We are saved through Jesus Christ. We are not saved through no man. Christ is who we saved by. If we're free in this country to worship God, if we ain't free to worship God in this country, you serve God and you be a child of God, whether you're free or not. Where you have rules that against you, that you can't, against Christianity, you serve God. You don't serve God because your country gives you the right to be free to serve God. You serve God because you're free to serve God, no matter what your country does or what kind of rules they got. Because the disciples, they died for Jesus Christ. And that's how we are to live our life, willing to die for Jesus Christ, not saved because, I got the authority from my government that I can be saved. Right?
Yep. Donald Trump won't save you. Joe Biden won't save you. They're just people, man. They're just people.
So, and then Revelations 1, everybody's favorite book of the Bible.
Revelations? Oh, hell.
Okay. Revelations 1:7-8. "Behold, He cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see Him, and they also which pierced Him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of Him. Even so, Amen. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty." So everything is in God's hands. He controls it all. And one day He is coming back for His people. And I thought about a story. We should be prepared just like this. We should be anxious for God's coming back. We should be looking in the sky, waiting on His coming. It reminds me how we should be. If you had grandkids, which I don't have yet, I'm waiting on it. If you have grandkids and grandma and grandpa, tell them, hey, we gonna come get you this weekend. Most grandkids will be at the door with their bags ready for grandma and grandpa to pick them up. They be looking out the windows, they be peeking out the doors, and that's how we should be prepared for the Lord's coming back. Just like those grandkids waiting on their grandparents to come pick them up. You know how that feels, is how we should be looking for God and his return. And our focus should be on him. Our focus should not be on how great of a nation we got. We should focus on how many souls can we win to God while we're here on this earth. How many family members can we bring to God while we're here on this earth? So many people says time's running out, the end is near. If you thought the end is near and the time is running out, why ain't you running to your family members and trying to get them saved instead of worrying about prosperity and wealth and other stuff that goes on in this world today? That's a question everybody should ask themselves. If you really believe the end is coming and time is running out, you better get yourself in order, because the Bible says the thief comes when no man expects it. Yeah. Right? So I'm going to be preaching up here in a minute now. Okay, you can go ahead with your, and I got a couple things I want to finish with here.
So, basically, the thing that I have to end it off with is we need to get a national identity back in this country. And what I mean is when you ask people what it means to be American, a lot of people will tell you, I don't even know. Don't even know. We just live in the United States. I don't know. We are the United States of America. But we act like the divided states of America. I mean, I know that might sound corny, but we act like a nation divided. Not just that we slightly disagree. We act like a nation divided. And whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or whatever, we are all one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know a lot of people don't like the national anthem anymore, but that rings true. Maybe we should start acting like it. Maybe we should start acting like we're a nation that, is all one people. How about let's stop worshiping politicians and also at the same time stop demonizing them? Can we stop worshiping this person and absolutely belittling and demonizing this person? Can we stop holding these people up on pedestals like they're going to solve all of our problems? You know how many problems we can solve if we just come together as a nation? That doesn't mean everybody has to agree. And it doesn't mean that every time you disagree, you have to hold a whole parade and rally and go vandalize things in the streets and just be violent and just hate each other. Like, that doesn't solve anything. We are people. And when we're right, we're right. And when we're wrong, we're wrong. Call it out like it is. And if you get called out for being wrong, own it. Respect it. If you get called out for being right, own it. Respect it. After all, we're all neighbors. We're all citizens of one nation. It doesn't matter. My wife has family in Tennessee and Ohio. I have family that is all over the place. Florida. Like, how come we can treat our family who lives in another state like loved ones, but we can't treat the other people around them like loved ones? We don't let that affect us with the distance of our family. But for some reason, everybody, we don't care. I mean, we don't even like the people who live in our own towns, which just is, we got to stop this. Now look, I'm not an expert on anything. I'm not a psychologist, or I'm not somebody who's an expert on politics, but I am a human being, and you know what? So is everybody else. So I can speak confidently when I say that I myself love people. I love you, anybody who's watching. And I don't always get that perfect. But can we just turn the temperature down just a little bit, maybe a lot, and be a people again? Be individuals who make up a nation, who just because we disagree doesn't mean that we have to be volatile and hate each other. Can we kind of do that? That would be pretty nice, you know. It's just me. That's just what I think. Why are you over there clicking that pin?
Because thinking. You have to think. I write things down all day long, but just don't know. Things that come to me, I'll write that down.
I feel you.
So what I say today, I'm not getting on here to pushing nobody to vote for whoever they want to you vote. That's you. I'm not gonna get on here and tell you who I'm endorsing or voting for. I think that's personal with people.
Yeah.
I mean that's them. I mean, I'm not gonna get on. I'm not saying what I say today, or I'm not saying Trump is a don't vote for Trump. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm against him. I'm not saying all that. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just telling you how I feel about what I see, what's going on. So, the thing is, something came to me, I thought it was funny. But, you know how people wearing mega hats, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, why don't the people say they're Christians, what? They wearing the mega hats. Why don't they get their Alpha and Omega hat and wear those?
I'd wear it.
Huh?
I'd wear it.
You know, Alpha and Omega. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, which was, and which is to come. The Almighty.
Almighty.
Alpha and Omega hats. I ain't speaking against if you wear a MAGA hat. I'm not speaking against that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not doing that. Don't put no words in my mouth. Say Kevin says against. No, I'm not.
I think your point is.
I'm just saying, get your Alpha and Omega hat in replace of a mega hat. And put God first.
I think your point is if you're a Christian and you're so proud of Trump that you can wear a MAGA hat, you should probably be wearing a hat that endorses God more, right?
And I also wore this shirt. Don't know if you can see it or not. So
I'm wearing a Christian shirt too.
King, Lord of Lords, right? So the Bible verses on this shirt, to me, kind of goes with what I've been saying today. I didn't realize it until I put it on. One of those prophetic.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
All right, now calm down.
Okay, so Revelations 5:5 says, "The Lion, the tribe of Judah, the root of David, he is triumphed." He's already triumphed. No matter what we go through in this life, no matter what this world been through, he is already triumphed. And if we with him, we'll triumph with him. Revelations 9:16 says, "On his robe, he has the name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords." There ain't but one King and there ain't but one Lord, and that's Lord Jesus Christ. Am I right?
Right.
Right.
Oh, we said that at the same time, bro.
I thought that was pretty funny on the mega hat.
Yeah.
A MAGA hat or whatever.
I'd wear it. I don't look good in hat, but I'd wear it.
So I would like to end my, if you ain't got nothing else to say, on this Bible verse right here. If I can read.
Well,
I don't really like to read.
I don't know. You've been doing good so far.
I don't really like to read. The Bible verse I want to end this with is Psalms 23. I thought this seemed fitting in my eyes. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd." He is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He, the Lord, maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, or what goes on in this world, or what's happening around me. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thy anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord. God is the answer. He is the answer to everything. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Trust in God. And that's the points I wanted to make today.
I like it.
And so as many as know, some people might not know, my wife has been she's battled cancer before in her life, and she's battling cancer now, going through it. So, and she's been through chemo and radiation, chemo pills, but then recently she felt something on her neck, and it's getting bigger and bigger. So she went to the oncologist, and the oncologist said she was sure it was something, but not sure. So
well, let me ask
we're going through that right now. So my wife, she just wanted me to ask that y'all keep her in prayers.
Yeah, let me add a little context to that. When she first got cancer the first time, which was in 2008.
I ain't good.
Something like that. Yeah. Neither am I. She found a lump on her neck. Turned out to be lymphoma. And that was her first cancer. And then she got breast cancer just recently. She's getting over that. But the lump he was talking about is in the exact same spot where the cancer she got first time was. So it's making her a little uneasy. But like he said, they're going to go back and they're going to look into it and really figure out what it is. But yeah, if you could keep my mom in your prayers, that would be awesome. But yeah, I think this whole situation, this whole assassination attempt, it really brings things into perspective. It brings into perspective how easy you could die. You could be here literally 1 second, gone the next. I think it brings into light how, now I know some people might not like this, but it brings into light how firearms and stuff can be used negatively. And that could affect a lot of people. That could affect a lot of people's views on it. Something like this, that has a lot of weight to it. I think it brings to the forefront of how divided we are. Not only how divided we are, but how hateful we can be. It just brings a lot of stuff to the light. So, unfortunately, it's the negative effect. I wish it could have brought everybody together and made everybody realize, this is an awful situation and we should probably start fixing things, but maybe that'll happen. So I think the best thing to do is for us to look at ourselves individually and realize that things need to be worked on. We need to come together as a people, and we need to figure this stuff out without violence, without hate, without animosity. But yeah, I just figured since this just happened, we would make this whole episode about it, go over the basics, some conspiracies, break down some stuff, incorporate some Bible into it, and yeah. So, you got anything? Good? That's it. So I hope you enjoyed. I don't know, maybe this would be our biggest episode since we're talking about something controversial, and who knows. But this is a long episode. I mean, you can tell this is way longer than normal. But we hope you enjoyed. Stick around for next week. And we'll be back. Take it easy. Have a good one. Be safe. Prayers. God bless you. And we'll see you next week.